our next speaker belonged to at one part of time, recently in Delhi, bought some rubbish composter or something that actually costs 50 lakhs. And that rubbish composing process was advertised all across the Delhi media for 25 crores. And on that note, I cannot but congratulate Mr. Ashutosh that he is not with that dispensation anymore. The floor is yours, Ashutosh. Thanks.
मेरा दुर्भाग्य ये है कि 4.5 साल में राजनीति में रहा, उसके बाद 5 साल में जर्नलिज्म में रहा, उसके पहले 23 साल मैंने जर्नलिज्म किया, लेकिन ये पॉलिटिक्स मेरा पीछा नहीं छोड़ती। जहां भी जाओ पीछे पड़ी रहती है और मेरा परिचय ऐसे ही दिया जाता है जैसे कि मैं अभी भी पॉलिटिक्स में हूं। खैर, मैं जब पूरी डिबेट आज सुन रहा था तो मुझे ये लगा ही नहीं कि किसी ने अगेंस्ट द मोशन बोला है। तो फिर ये डिबेट आज कैसे हुई? I just fail to understand. There is no debate. The issue is already done. कि journalism in this country has degenerated to a level that nobody has guts to defend the kind of journalism which is happening in the country. And I'm glad that those who are supposed to speak against the motion, they are also speaking for the motion. And it's good for the democracy. It's brilliant for the democracy that those who are killing democracy in the country, that those who are not letting the debate happen in the country, they also are so ashamed that they will not speak against the motion. I'm sorry to use a harsh word. I apologize for that, but that is the reality. Today, the reality is, and across the world, that the fascism evolves, becomes a force only through democracy. There's no other way. It's fashionable to go back to Jawaharlal Nehru, rubbish him. But those who say so, वो भूल जाते हैं कि अगर इस देश के अंदर डेमोक्रेसी नहीं होती, अगर इस देश के अंदर नेहरू नहीं होते, तो आज जो लोग सत्ता में बैठे हुए हैं वो कभी नहीं बैठ पाते। आज जो सत्ता में बैठे हुए हैं वो कभी नहीं बैठ पाते। आपको बोलने का मौका मिला, आपने जो कुछ कहना था आपको कहने का मौका मिला, आपको अपनी पब्लिकेशंस करने का मौका मिला, आपको किताबें लिखने का मौका मिला। और यही नहीं, जो लोग इमरजेंसी की बुराई करते हैं वो शायद भूल जाते हैं कि उनके सबसे बड़े नेता, उनके सबसे बड़े आका वो चिट्ठियां लिख रहे थे कि मुझे माफ कर दीजिए, हमसे गलती हो गई, हम आपसे मिलना चाहते हैं, 2 मिनट का वक्त दे दीजिए। That's the tragedy. That's the tragedy. And if people want to know who was writing the letter, I can always tell him, or I can always tell her. But today we are not talking about the politics. But today, this debate is even divided between the Congress kind of journalism and the BJP kind of journalism. It's not about journalism. It's about pre-2014 journalism and it's about post-2014 journalism. The fact of the matter is, state by nature is repressive. State by nature doesn't like free press. That's the job. And if the press has to survive, if the press has to stand up, then the press has every right to stand up, look into the eyes of the Prime Minister and say, Mr. Prime Minister, you are wrong. But today, if you do that, आप उनके पीछे क्यों पड़े हुए हैं? या आप उनके पीछे क्यों पड़े? What kind of question is this? आप उनके पीछे क्यों पड़े हुए हैं? आप उनसे क्यों पूछते हैं? आप उनसे नफरत क्यों करते हैं? अरे बाबा, सवाल पूछना गुनाह है क्या? जब आप मनमोहन सिंह से सवाल करो तो आप कोई एजेंडा नहीं चलाते हो। जब आप अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी सवाल पूछो तो आप कोई एजेंडा नहीं चलाते हो। जब आप नेहरू से सवाल पूछो आप कोई एजेंडा नहीं चलाते हो। लेकिन अगर आज सवाल पूछो तो आपका एजेंडा है क्या? आप इतना नफरत क्यों करते हैं? आर यू हेटर? इतनी नफरत नहीं करनी चाहिए। द फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर इज इट इज अ जॉब ऑफ अ प्राइम मिनिस्टर, इट्स अ जॉब ऑफ अ प्रेस जर्नलिस्ट लाइक मी टू आस्क क्वेश्चंस. We are not asking questions to an individual. We are asking questions to a prime minister. I'll just cite one small example. Long back when Jawaharlal Nehru was alive, a Hindustan Times editor has written a column that Mr. Nehru wanted to promote his daughter as a next leader. When Nehru read it, he was very upset. उन्होंने अपने पियारों से पूछा, भाई ये क्या लिखा, जरा किसने लिखा, जरा बात कराइए उनसे. उनसे बात हुई. That gentleman was invited, had a cup of tea with Jawaharlal Nehru, and Jawaharlal Nehru asked him, why did you write it? Why didn't you consult me? You should have taken my version. That gentleman said, we could not because your office didn't allow me to meet you. From that day onwards, Nehru appointed Maulana Azad and said, every Sunday you will meet this gentleman. Whatever queries he had, you have to answer that. And that continued till the week Maulana Azad died. It's good that we discuss democracy and emergency together. And anybody who is in senses should realize that emergency was a dark chapter in Indian history. But that was done constitutionally. Today, do I need to elaborate more on that? But the fact is, एक निर्भया कांड हुआ था. मुझे लगता है महीनों उस पर डिबेट हुई है. इतनी डिबेट हुई है कि उसके बाद देश का कानून बदला. मैं कंपेयर नहीं करना चाहता हूं, लेकिन आज बिल्किस बानो के मामले पे पत्रकार, बड़े बड़े जर्नलिस्ट, एडिटर्स, एंकर्स, वो बिल्किस बानो का धर्म देखते हैं. इज इट नॉट शेमफुल कि आप क्रिमिनल्स का रिलीजन देखते हैं, धर्म देखते हैं, वो हिंदू है, मुसलमान है, सिख है, ईसाई है, और फिर आप उस पर डिबेट करते हैं. टेल मी, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वॉच्ड डिबेट ऑन द डे व्हेन द सुप्रीम कोर्ट has given its verdict on a TV channels? I was watching the channel. Within half an hour, all the TV channels, they shut that subject and never discussed. As a country, we should be ashamed of on whose prompting this was done. So today it's not an issue that who is the prime minister. Today it is not an issue before me, who is the journalist. Today, before me, the issue is what kind of ideology we have. Is it a degenerate ideology? It is a product of deep inferiority complex that every day, to talk about a particular religion, you have to get a reference of some other religion. That's wrong in that religion. I'm talking about my religion. Talk to me about Shankaracharya. Talk to me about Ramanujacharya. Talk to me about Vallabhacharya. Talk to me about Ved. Talk to me about Yagvalk. Talk to me about Raidas. Talk to me about Kabir. Talk to me about Tulsi. Talk to me about Radhakrishnan. Talk to me about Balakrishna Gokhale. I want to know what's wrong with us. If there's wrong with that other religion, it's their problem. They have to address. They have to deal with that. Are we trying to replicate that religion? Are we trying to make that religion our religion? But they are so-called ideologues. And I say with great concern that any ideology, any ideologue who suffers from deep inferiority complex can never do justice. Neither in journalism nor in politics. This will take the country to a deep division, and finally the entire population has to suffer. Again, I'll reiterate, the fascism comes to the country only through democratic means. Thank you.